Good afternoon, Elmira Baptist Church. Today's update comes from the new building where you can see we've got paint and primer and all kinds of neat stuff in this room, and there's things going on in the building this week. Today is July 25th, 2024. It's a Thursday, and we've got a bunch of campers out at camp this week. Let me give you our verse today. It is from Romans chapter 12, verse 13. Distributing to the necessity of the saints, given to hospitality. And the quote comes from a fellow named Matthew Smethurst, and he says this: God did not give us the book of Revelation so that we would build bigger bomb shelters in the backyard. He gave us this book so that we would build bigger dinner tables and invite our friends over and tell them about Jesus. This coming Sunday is the fourth Sunday of the month, and what that means for us is that we're going to have a food and fellowship, and we're going to follow up that food and fellowship with a time of praise and testimony. You don't want to miss it. But first, let me take you into one of the offices and show you around in there. You can see in this office, this is the secretary's office. They're working on a door right here, and here's the door with the doorway with a door on it and everything. It's great to see progress going on in this building. This coming Sunday, you don't want to miss our Sunday school program that'll be at 9:45 in the morning. Then at 11 o'clock, we're going to meet for morning worship. And the sermon is going to introduce a new series. It's a new series about the Beatitudes that are found in Matthew chapter 5. But you'll need to back up to Matthew chapter 4 and begin reading in verse 24, and then read through the end of chapter 4 and into chapter 5, all the way up to Matthew chapter 5, verse 2, to prepare yourself for the sermon on Sunday morning. Right after that Sunday morning sermon, we're going to have a time of food and fellowship, and then after that time of food and fellowship, a time of praise and testimony. And Billy Cortez is going to speak to us while I lead the singing, and you're going to provide the praise, and you're going to provide the testimonies. Let's go take a look at another part of the building. This is the men's bathroom, and it's a little bit smaller than the ladies' side, but boy, isn't it neat to see ongoing progress? You're going to want to know these upcoming events as well. This coming Sunday, of course, is our Food and Fellowship Sunday. And then the following Sunday, August 4th, after morning worship, we're going to be observing the Lord's Supper. It's an important time of self-examination, praise, and worship for the church. I encourage you, members of Elmira Baptist Church, to join us on August 4th. On August 4th, after the evening worship, we're going to have our quarterly business meeting. And it's an important meeting. All of our quarterly business meetings are important. This one in particular, we're going to be looking at some issues with the building and the path forward. So I encourage you to be here for that. That is on the evening of August 4th. Saturday, August 17th is a work day. And although I don't think we'll be doing mostly work in here, it'll be mostly work on our current buildings, I could use all the help I can get both outside and inside. That's Saturday morning, August 17th. We're going to start at 8 o'clock in the morning. About noon, we'll stop, have a meal together, and then go our separate ways. If you can help with any of that work on Saturday, August 17th, let me encourage you to be here. Let's go take a look at the break room. Well, this is going to end up being our break room, and you can see there's a lot of work to be done yet on this room, but I'm so glad for the progress and for God's rich provision for us. Remember, we have not had to borrow a single penny to get the work done this far, and I'm thankful for that. The men have been working this week on primer on the walls and setting the doors, which is why I wanted to show you that door in one of the offices. They'll be continuing to work on the doors and door jambs and also be painting in here over the next week or so. And then we have a tile setter coming in to set the tile in the bathrooms. So a lot of good things going on. This is the room that echoes. You can even hear it even though I'm wearing a mic. It's amazing. Let me give you a couple of prayer requests. I hope you're praying for the children who are at camp this week, the children and the teens who are at camp this week. They're there until Saturday when they come home. And also please be praying for Larry Jacobs. He's had some complications from the shoulder injury break that he experienced last week, and would appreciate your prayers. I'm pretty sure this is going to be my favorite room. This is the library room, and it's just off to the right as you come in the double doors that lead into the foyer. Just off the foyer there is our library. And I'm looking forward to having a room where we can put out books that explain and encourage us to read God's Word. Let me finish up with a devotional today. Earlier I mentioned Romans chapter 12, verse 13, distributing to the necessity of the saints, given to hospitality. Again, that's Romans 12:13, given to hospitality. Do you remember that we have 4 pillars here at Elmira Baptist Church? First of all, we want to be a church that focuses on God. Number 2, we want to be a church that prays. Number 3, we want to be a church that matures Christians. 2 sides to that, by the way. I'm not going to be satisfied to plateau in Christian maturity. I'm not going to be satisfied to just stay where I'm at. I want to mature, you want to mature, and we want to mature each other. But there's a second aspect, and that is as new folks come and God gives us people that are saved and baptized and added to our church, we want to train them to be disciples of Jesus Christ. But then there's a 4th pillar, and that is we want to build relationships. We want to focus on loving people, not building programs. Programs are helpful. Programs will give us a set of rails on which to run. I like that illustration, seeing we're a church with a railroad track next to us. However, the emphasis is always loving God and loving people, building relationships. And how are we going to build relationships if we don't spend time with each other? Just yesterday, I read in Mark chapter 3. And in Mark chapter 3, verses 13 and 14, it says this, "And he, Jesus, goeth up into a mountain, and calleth unto him whom he would. And they came unto him, and he ordained 12, that they should be with him, and that he might send them forth to preach." He chose those 12 disciples, and one of the reasons for choosing the 12, so that they would be with him. With him. That's why he chose them. They would be with him. Jesus trained his disciples by spending time with them. And we're going to train disciples, and we're going to love people by spending time with them. We need to spend time with each other. You know what keeps us from spending time with other people? There's a lot of things, but one of those obstacles to spending time with other people is selfishness. It takes emotional energy to spend time with other people. It takes time and effort. Maybe it is my house is not quite tidy, and I would have people over, but I'd have to tidy up the house. I'd go out and meet people, but I've just got home from work, and I feel so good just to stay here. And it can be often that we don't meet with other people because, frankly, we're selfish. Let's not allow selfishness to keep us from spending time with other people and to keep us from being hospitable. Inviting people into our homes where we can talk, where we can fellowship, where we can share life together. It's easy for those of us, I think, it's my experience, it's easy for those of us with families. We've got children, we've got a spouse, and do we really need to invite other people into our home? There's already so many people here. Let me encourage us to make sure to reach out to those who are single, to those that are without a family in the moment, and to invite them to be a part of our family from time to time. But you can also be hospitable, and you can also spend time with people outside of the home. They don't always have to come to your home. You could meet at the park, especially if you've got kids. Why not meet at the park? where the kids can run and play and do some fun things, especially as the weather cools down. It's been really hot to be outside in the middle of the day, but as the weather cools down, we're going to have some pleasant evenings when we can spend time with each other. Given to hospitality. We want to be a hospitable church. We want to be a church that loves each other, that enjoys fellowshipping with each other. And part of that's going to happen this coming Sunday when we have a food and fellowship time after morning worship. We want you to be a part of that. Please plan to bring enough for your family and a little bit extra, and plan to stay and join us for our time of food and fellowship. So this coming Sunday schedule, 9:45 Sunday school, 11 o'clock morning worship, followed by a time of food and fellowship. And then in the afternoon, we're going to meet and share praises and share testimonies. And then we will not meet at 5 o'clock because we'll already have met. I hope to see you there.